Namaste. We at AMAYUR have started this attempt to let people know about how Ayurveda can help for maintenance of health. In the previous episode, we discussed about the daily regime, which is called as Dinacharya in Ayurvedic terminology. And as a part of daily regime, we discussed that a sequence of procedures, if they are followed strictly on a daily basis, they certainly help for maintenance of health and indirectly prevention of diseases. Now, in the same episode, if you remember, we discussed that Ayurveda gives importance to three things: food, sleep, and sex life. Ayurveda believes that these three are the pillars for a healthy life. So, in continuation with the previous episode, we at AMAYUR will now enter into food related discussion. Because Ayurveda gives great importance to food, Ayurveda believes that just by adjusting the food items, what we are consuming, we can ensure better health and we can prevent many diseases. So, in this series, to start with, we will be demonstrating one of the famous Indian recipes, popularly called as Kitchari in Indian languages. The basic Sanskrit name for Kitchari is, viewers will find it difficult to pronounce, but please bear with me. The basic Sanskrit name is Krushara, but because it was difficult to pronounce, over the period of time, it was linguistically corrupted, linguistically changed to be called as Khichdi. So now every Indian knows this term, Khichdi, and we will be demonstrating it for the sake of viewers. Now, one of the peculiar characters about Indian recipes, and Ayurveda also endorses it, Ayurveda recommends it, is use of a lot of spices. And when I say a lot of spices, that doesn't mean the quantity is more, but I mean to say more number of spices is used in the Indian cuisine, simply because Ayurveda believes that whatever we consume needs to be digested by the digestive fire, and almost all the spices which are used in Indian cuisine and recommended by Ayurveda, they are increasing the digestive fire. So indirectly they are helping better digestion, and consequently they are helping prevention of diseases. So in this first recipe which we are going to demonstrate, we will be doing Khichdi Krushara in Sanskrit, which is a very simple to do recipe. It has only two main contents. One is from the cereals group, rice, and the other is from the lentils group or pulses, yellow gram or yellow lentil, which is called as mudga in Sanskrit and moong in Indian languages. But to be able to process it well and help better digestion, Indians traditionally use many spices to make a very delicious recipe called khichdi or krushara. So here are a few spices, you can see it and I will show one by one. There are two options to use these spices. Option 1, traditionally which is practiced in India, is the Indian housewives, they keep a spice mix ready in their kitchen, which is called masala. Maybe some of you have heard this word before. But whenever it's not necessarily possible, like here for example, even if you have masala, you can use it. But if you don't have an access to masala, you need not give up. You can still select the available spices and continue with the recipe. So just to facilitate viewers to exactly know what we are using, I'll show the spices one by one and then we'll proceed to make this famous recipe called khichdi. The first one you can see is cumin. Actually, Ayurveda believes that there are three types of cumins. All are medicinal, all are good for digestive purpose, and all are good to reduce gas problems. Out of them, Two are displayed here. You can see here, and later on you can also see the photographs. One is called the cumin or black cumin because it is darker in color, and the other is called as cumin proper. The scientific name of this cumin is Cuminum siminum, which is one of the best digestive spices and a great medicine. You can also see here a nowadays famous Indian spice curcuma or turmeric. Now here it is in powder form to facilitate easy cooking, but some of you may recollect that cumin or curcuma is available in such form in the market. It's a tubercle basically, so it grows under the soil and it is taken out and processed by the traditional traders and then sold in this form in the market. So cumin is one content, another type of cumin is second content, curcuma or turmeric powder is third content. Then the fourth one is available in many parts of the globe, but it can be used in two ways. You can see it here. They are coriander seeds called as dhanyaka in Sanskrit. I hope in many parts of the globe now the coriander seeds and coriander leaves both are available, and either of them or both of them can be used for many Indian recipes. Next one here is fenugreek seeds. They also form a part of Indian spice box and they are very good to control vata dosha, and they are precisely recommended to reduce the lumbar pain. Next one is mustard seeds. You can see it here, and later on you will also see the photograph. Now mustard seeds form unavoidable part of Indian kitchen box. They are available in different colors like black mustard, red mustard, yellow mustard, etc. According to Ayurveda, all of them, they have more or less similar properties. They are good to increase the digestive fire. They are good to reduce the kapha dosha, what Ayurveda calls as kapha dosha, and very good for enhancing digestion. Next one is not necessarily a part of all khichdi recipes, because some of you might be aware of India is a big, geographically big country. Different cultures are intermingled, so traditionally, as per the geographical region or caste or history, the recipe keeps on changing a little bit. So it is not that all housewives will add this, but I think in Europe we can add this. Cloves, everyone knows this, very easily available spice in Europe and has great medicinal properties. Last two, this is one of, I will say, infamous Indian spice because of its smell. It is called as asafoetida in English. The Latin name is Ferula foetida. Actually it's a resin, so it's not its natural form, it's a resin, and then it is processed and powdered. So in the market you can get it in both forms, resin in stone like form or powder like this, called as hing in Indian languages and hingu in Sanskrit or Ayurvedic terminology. It has a very strong smell. For the first time non-Indians smell it, they consider it almost horrible, and that's why in the ancient times when the plants were named, this plant, the source of this asafoetida, was named as Ferula foetida, meaning devil's feces. It is so strong smelling. But don't think about cutting it from the recipe. Please make it a point to add it simply because it's a great carminative. It increases digestive fire. It mainly reduces all the gas problems and it adds a unique taste to the food item. So asafoetida is a must. This actually need not have a mention because it's salt, nothing else. But still I'll mention in half a minute because Ayurveda also studies salt and its qualities and how it helps the cooking, and treatment. So there are different kinds of salts available in the market, as everyone knows, but this is the Himalayan pink salt or Himalayan rock salt, which is available in most parts of Europe now, and Ayurveda considers that this is one of the best salt options to be used in the kitchen. So with the help of these spices, we will soon be processing one cereal, that is rice, and one lentil or pulse, that is yellow gram or moong dal in Indian languages. All these spices collectively will help better processing of them and will give a great taste. And to be able to process them, there is a process called braising. And for braising, there are two options, oil or ghee. But being in an Ayurvedic session, we will obviously prefer use of ghee. So this is ghee, or you can call it clarified butter from cow's milk. This is considered as one of the best dairy products to maintain health. So hello, so we will continue the Kitchari preparation. I repeat, the basic name for Kitchari is Krushara in Sanskrit, but over the centuries period it was linguistically changed as Kitchari. Uh, we have already discussed about the spices to be used. The yellow lentil or moong dal and rice, they are already washed and soaked in water, and now we will start actual process of braising. As you can see from here, the ghee, which is clarified butter, the root source of it is cow's milk, is put in a panel and it is put on fire. So very soon it will melt, and when the ghee melts, we will put all the spices which we already discussed. So now you can see the ghee is melted. Now ideally we should start with mustard seeds. And there is a sequence of braising. We should add mustard seeds in oil or ghee, which is already kept on fire. And when the mustard seeds start bursting, it is also called as, jokingly called as dancing. When the mustard seeds start bursting because of the external cover getting broken up, that is considered as the right time to add the spices. Now, though you cannot necessarily see here, but you can certainly listen to the sound of the breaking of mustard seeds. So this is an indication that we are now allowed to add further spices. Now this is the black type of cumin, which we already discussed. This is the normal cumin, easily available in European market. These are the fenugreek seeds, which are very good for lumbar pain and reducing vata related disorders. These are the coriander seeds. I repeat, coriander can be added in the form of seeds, or at the end of the recipe we can even add fresh coriander leaves. Spices like clove and others are optional, because in India they have a ready-made mix of all these spices, which is called as masala. Can you see that the melted ghee with all the spices inside? I hope you can see. Then we'll add cumin powder, curcuma in it. Curcuma will color everything. So this is a mixture which has great digestive properties, carminative properties, which will take out the gas accumulation in the tummy, and things like curcuma will ensure many other health related things. We will add already soaked moong dal or yellow gram into it. And fry it a little bit. So this kind of frying helps better processing and better digestion. Same is with already soaked rice grains. Here we go. So all the contents are in the panel now. We have discussed the quantities separately. Why we fry? Because Ayurveda believes that every time it is the fire necessary to digest the food inside the tummy after we consume. So if we process it a little bit outside with the fire, it will make us light for digestion, which is called as laghu in Ayurvedic terminology. But you can say it will make us easy for digestion. So we will add water into it to complete the cooking process. Now food is both art and science. So those who are curious to know the exact proportion, just for their information, but of course you can play around. The proportion of yellow lentil and rice grains should be 1:2. That means if yellow grains are say 100 grams, yellow lentils, then rice should be 200 grams. So now this mixture is here, as you can see, and it will be processed by the fire, and when it's finally done we will show you the photograph of it, and we will also comment on how it can be used. Now we are almost done with this. Just to remind you, we have discussed about this salt to be added, but why we didn't put the salt in the beginning? Because Ayurveda has some underlying rules about cooking and food. Ayurveda believes that certain things are never to be cooked. For example, yogurt is never to be cooked, curd is never to be cooked, honey is never to be cooked. Similarly, salt is to be used only at the end of the processing. So we didn't add salt in the beginning. Now we will add little bit of salt. As already discussed, there are different kinds of salts available. Ayurveda has mentioned 8 different types. Out of the 8, Ayurveda believes the Himalayan salt, which looks pink and fortunately available in European market. So that is one of the best types. So we added a bit of salt into it. According to Ayurveda, even salt has some role to do. Salt will reduce Vata dosha. So salt will indirectly help to get rid of the gas problems, flatulence, bloating, etc. But mind you, salt is to be used only in small amounts called as traces, not in big amounts. Those who have a fond of using excess salt or habitual to excess salt, let me tell you what Ayurveda warns. Ayurveda says that excess use of salt will invite aging. That means a person who eats excess salt will have signals of premature aging. Just to quickly summing up, Kitchari, which is basically called as krushara in Sanskrit, is one of the famous Indian recipes. Most of the Indian provinces, Indian states, they do it as per their tradition. Why Kitchari is important? Because it has 2 of the basic grains in typical Indian diet. One is rice grain, which has both Ayurvedic importance and even the religious rituals have rice grains in it. Second grain we use is yellow lentil or moong dal, called in Indian languages. It is considered as the best lentil by the Ayurvedic authors like Charaka and Sushruta. So out of all the lentils available in the globe, yellow lentil is considered as the best. So obviously this recipe becomes one of the best recipes to nurture a person. And not only that, even for some treatment modalities. Because Ayurveda is giving a lot of insistence on food qualities, etc., there are many do's and don'ts from Ayurvedic perspective for all patients. So they get confused, what can I eat and what I shouldn't eat. But Kitchari Krushara is one of such recipes which is pretty safe to be consumed. Even in some of the disease conditions, you can consume it. So it has less don'ts. However, the final discretion will be with your Ayurvedic expert. So please don't take it 100%. But yes, in most of the diseases, Kitchari is safe to be consumed. What is more important to conclude, I would like to say, is Ayurveda considers food as one of the pillars we have already discussed. To be able to strengthen this pillar, one should cook for his own or her own. Not only cook for his or her own, but preferably with full mind involvement, with full involvement of mind. And not only that, even when the food is done, the recipe is completed, Ayurveda says that you consume food by following certain rules and regulations, but we will be discussing these rules in a separate episode. But what is important is whatever you do it with full involvement of mind. So with this, I would like to conclude. Thanks for patient watching, because it was tricky. So many new spices for you people to understand. Now this is how the done Kitchari looks. But I think some of you will surely try this recipe, and if you think you are doing it great and it is helping you, feel free to include it in your diet. Thank you. Namaste.